Welcome to the MLM Solution Podcast Show, where you'll learn the facts and hear the truth about the network marketing industry. Here's your host, Rob Cootie.
Hello, Miss Marie. Good afternoon, morning, whatever it is.
I take it you've been up for a while today if you think it's afternoon already, huh?
Unfortunately, yes, but you are tired as well. Today's one of your days where you got tired.
Hey, it's just another day in paradise here.
I totally get it. I agree with that. Even though I'm blessed so much with each and every day, and I'm grateful for it, even when I'm tired. And you're right. I did get up early. Boy, I tell you, when I got up, I wanted to go back to bed so bad. It took everything I had to get up on my feet. And as you know, I lost my phone in the process. There's no telling where it is. I'm famous. I lose my wallet. I'll go days without my wallet. Have no clue where it is. It always shows up. I drive anyway, and I'll lose my phone for 3 or 4 days. My dad used to go nuts, man. When he realized I had lost my wallet or whatever, he would get up and look for it for me. I said, Dad, just calm down. Well, it's got money in it. He's got this and that. I said, Dad, you're right. But it'll show up. And of course it would, because it's not like it got legs and went out somewhere, The one thing I will say about me is I keep my stuff centralized. It may go out on the peripheral every once in a while, but it's pretty much right. In other words, it's in the house here somewhere. It did not get thrown away. It did not end up, out in the yard, in the car, none of that.
Well, I was going to say I'm kind of a creature of habit when it comes to those things, right? Like when I come in the house, the keys go in a specific spot. And if I get distracted and they end up somewhere else, then we might have a little bit of trouble. But that's where routine is a good thing.
It is. And believe it or not, for the most part, this is the first time I've lost my phone in a long time. And I used to be terrible about my keys. My dad, for Christmas one year, my dad got me this thing. You remember the clapper?
Oh yes, clap on, clap off.
Yes, for the and that's a great invention for the elderly that can't get around. You know what? If they want the light on, if they're bedridden, think about it. That's a great thing. So I thought that was pretty cool invention. But anyway, my dad got one of those for me on my keychain. And when I would lose my key when I was ready, because I used to go to their house all the time, and when I would get ready to go and I couldn't find my keys, he'd see me going around. That used to drive him nuts.
That's funny. Well, yeah. I've got a good one for you here, Rob. So I was talking with a friend of mine the other night on the phone. And I asked her a question about getting some contact information for a mutual acquaintance. And she said, well, let me find my phone and I'll get that for you. And I'm like, what are you talking to me on? Of course, I didn't say it right away. I let her look for her phone for a little while.
That is too good. Thanks for sharing.
I'm not a nice person.
Yes, you are. I'm sure you did it gently. That's freaking awesome. Oh, man. We've all done that. I did something similar to that the other day. I forgot what it was now. And thank God before I opened my mouth, I realized I had it in my hand. So I saved myself some embarrassment. Although I'm telling on myself now, but oh well. You can't laugh at yourself. Who can you laugh at, right?
Exactly.
Yes. So it is a great day, guys. Once again, we have fall-like weather. Miss Marie, I hope you do too. This is great. I'm going to be cutting grass today. So it's going to be a good day, good productive day.
Awesome. Yep. We've got, we're not quite fall yet. We're pushing 90 again here today for a high. So, wow. But it's cooling off nicely at night. So I can't complain.
We're going to be in the 40s next week.
Oh,
at nighttime, not during the day, obviously.
I'm a little jealous. I like that cooler weather for sleeping.
Oh yes, absolutely. Well, we have an air conditioner, obviously, that runs 24/7 upstairs. We're in an older house, and it does have central air, but it was not installed correctly. And when you go upstairs, we have a little window unit And the reason being is that ducting needs to all be redone. But since we're moving, we're not going to worry about it at this particular time. We're moving after the first of the year. And so we'll take care of that once we get out of here. But we're not going to deal with that mess right now, you know?
Yeah, I don't blame you.
No, we just do that little thing cranks, you know? And I'm sure what's happened is we've gotten some mice, squirrels, or something in that part of the house where they've pulled that ducting away from the vents. And I've been in houses before where that's happened. Now, I'm not saying we have critters running throughout our house, but there has been moments, and I would say, I can't even remember when we sit we have a large TV room, and where we're sitting there, you'll hear the movement in the ceiling. Does that make sense? Yeah.
So your cat's not doing its job.
Well, that hasn't happened in a long time. And, like I told the wife, then of course, it became clear that the upstairs was not cooling the way it should be. And since we're in an older home, we didn't do this. What happened was the people 20, 30 years ago, they took the attic and they did a wonderful job renovating it. So the master bedroom, the master bath, the study, and all that is up there. And they had proper air run up there. But unfortunately, sometimes when those little critters crawl up that ducting, based on what kind of ducting they use, you would like to think they use that metal that's real slippery. It's metal like you see in basements. But that's not always the case. Sometimes they use that almost like dryer duct type material.
Oh, yeah. It's got the little ridges on it.
Yeah. So we'll find out. We're just not going to tear that wall out because that's the only way to get to it. If you saw the design, you totally get it. But the only way to get to it and find out is to tear the wall out on that side. Well, I told the wife, so we ain't doing that while we live here. Ain't no way. So anyway, enough of that. Guys, we're going to have a great show today. Our show is going to be about podcast number 45 for all you on the listening on SoundCloud and all the other podcast platforms. Thank you so much for all of that. But today is evaluating your business, and this goes hand in hand with what we talked about yesterday, and really, Miss Marie, pretty much over the last 5 business days, not including the weekend, but we've been talking pretty much subject matter that all of this tags on to the previous episode. So if you guys go to our YouTube channel, go to SoundCloud, iTunes, Blueberry, Spotify, et cetera, you will find these episodes that we're talking about. If you go back pretty much over the last week, and if you listen to those in succession, you're going to have a mental picture of exactly what we're talking about, the importance of it, how it all plays together. And once again, you're going to be miles ahead of your peers, but that only counts if you actually use it. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you're not using it, what good is it doing, right?
Exactly. That's always my mantra, right? You can learn it all to your heart's content and spend time acquiring all the knowledge, but you have to take action. So go do it.
To take action. There it is. And without getting into the social political environment, which I do not want to do, but in network marketing, we called people like people that always want to tell you what to do and what not to do and blah, blah, blah. For instance, professors who are full of themselves, and we always call them educated idiots because they're great at telling you what to do. When you ask, have you ever built a business? No. Have you ever owned a business? No. Have you ever taken a business loan out? No. Have you ever done anything entrepreneurial? No. Then what in the hell are you doing telling me how to build a business? So what I'm saying here, folks, don't gather the knowledge and be a professor.
What's that old saying that they have? Those who can do, those who can't teach.
There you go, man. That's an awesome thing. And you know what? I would not dare insult the professor on Gilligan's Island because he always did something. They never got off the island, but at least he was trying.
Hey, anybody that can make a radio out of a coconut has my vote of confidence. We talk about drinking out of a coconut, but if if you remember the professor on Gilligan's Island, he made all sorts of things out of coconuts. And I know there was one episode, he turned that coconut into a radio. That was incredible.
I'm a big Gilligan fan. I do not remember that.
Oh, yes.
Well, I'll be. Lordy be. Who would have thought, right? I'll have to watch it and make sure I have, without getting off, and then we'll get on to the show. I have full seasons, and I bought these, obviously. Gilligan's Island, Bewitch. I'm not a big Mayberry fan, but I did get that. News Radio. I did say Bewitch, Gilligan's Island. You get the point. Mm-hmm. All the old classic episodes of those. So I'll be able to pull out Gilligan and find that episode. I'm interested in seeing. I can't believe I don't remember that. I'm a big Gilligan fan. Yep. And, I'm glad they never got off the island.
I don't even remember how that series ended.
They got off the island?
Well, that was sad. That's why the series ended, because they finally got off the island.
Yes, and they went into society, and then they missed the island.
Yeah.
So there you go. They got what they wanted, and then realized it's not what they wanted. And it really was anticlimactic, and it also was, how would you say, a big letdown. It wasn't what you thought it was going to be. So anyway, enough of that. Gilligan and all of them don't have our knowledge, Miss Marie. They have to listen to us if they were still around, because we bring to the table things you will not learn anyplace else. And today you're going to learn about how to evaluate your business, why it's important, and what it's going to do for you, not only in a professional manner, but also in a personal manner. You do not want to miss this episode, because that information is going to help you build a successful, stable, and profitable business. That being said, our famous, there we go. The official start, I guess you would say. Miss Marie disagrees, but I totally get her point. But we'll just continue on with our famous gong. It's a pattern interrupt, wakes you guys up from your stupor, and also wakes me up. So, all right. So with that being said, we're going to be talking about a really important subject today, and that is this. We've talked about over the last few days how to get off to a quick start, how to get off to a correct start, how to use the documents to ensure that duplication has a legitimate chance to take place, how that duplication helps your business gain traction, combined with speed and urgency. Remember, speed and urgency work directly with duplication in order for your business to gain traction. Yesterday, we talked about 4 phases of the business building process. It's not a new term being introduced. These phases have been around a long time. We don't talk about them because, to be honest with you, they're borderline, as we talked about yesterday, on being advanced and intermediate type information. It's the reason why we don't talk about it, because we've been focused on Miss Marie, the newer people.
Yep, we don't want to go too deep, because we are trying to help those of you who are considering getting into the network marketing arena, are relatively new to the business model, or for whatever reason have dropped out at some point, usually out of frustration or lack of success, and are coming back into it and want to succeed because you've caught that vision. You want that lifestyle, that income level, that time freedom, and we are here to help you attain that.
Yes, and that's the reason why we don't go. We catch ourselves. Miss Marie helps me. Almost went into a deep dive yesterday, but she threw me a lifesaver, life vest, what is that thing? That round
life preserver.
There we go, life preserver. There it is, lifesaver.
Lifesavers are good, but it's not going to help you if you're drowning.
No, and being a lifeguard, you'd think that would be something I remember. Oh well. Anyway. The point is that she stopped me from going down that rabbit hole, because that can get ugly fast, and we certainly don't want to confuse you guys, because some of the things we talk about can get confusing, and we try really hard to summarize and make that summarization very clear and concise, so that you walk away from the episode knowing exactly what the subject matter was and how it can help you, and that's no different today. So that being said, we're going to be talking. We're going to have to talk in all 3 phases of the business. And you might be talking about, well, Rob, what are you talking about? And we always teach you guys, there's 3 different phases of a company, a new one: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Well, it's actually the industry. Phase 1 is a new company. Phase 2 is an intermediary company, and phase 3 is a mature company, meaning Amway, New Skin, Mary Kay, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, they've had their time. Now they're just cruising along. Your intermediary companies are the companies that are in transition. I call them transitional companies, meaning that sometimes they go from obviously out of being a new company into this intermediate stage where their business decisions and their product line and everything else, all the synergy or synergistic items that must work together for that company to go to the Amway level, those intermediate companies are working hard to make that happen. Okay. To be honest with you, there's a lot of criteria that you could use to identify what hey, is a company as big as Amway, New Skin, Mary Kay, et cetera, et cetera. Leave Herbalife and all them out, not on purpose. But the thing is that the qualifications would almost have to be that they're a multi-billion-dollar international company at the very least, in order for them to be considered in that category. And to be honest with you, they're pretty much going to have to be around for a few years, because a new company can catapult itself past the intermediate level into the big time level, phase 3, and only be there for a couple of years and then fall back and never recover. So that's not the subject of the show, but it does tie into the 3 phases that you go through. And I really don't want to confuse you guys. And what I'm saying is, you also go through those exact same phases. You joined the network marketing industry. You're out there doing your initial 90-day mini blast. You're working hard, and you really didn't know if you wanted to go full-time in this business. But because of your hard work, because you did things correctly, in other words, CCBBA, and for those of you that don't know what that is, that's consistent, correct business building activity. Then because you did those things, you've gone from a newbie past the initial 90-day mini blast into an intermediate area where you're stabilizing your business and your income is going up. Your business is really doing well. And then within your first year, you may be put in a position where you're going to say to yourself, you know what, I've got this thing rolling. I need to take it as far as I can. I did not want to build a big business when I first started doing this, but things are rocking and rolling. And I would be silly, as Marie and Rob talk about, to slow down this momentum. I need to ride it and see where it's going to take me. And that's where you'll go from intermediate, meaning, because you got to realize when you're a newbie, you're going from a newbie into the transitional phase, which is you still have your job in the transitional phase. Your income is creeping up to where it's either going to match or surpass your job income. And you're starting to pay things off in that intermediate level. And months down the road, you're going to be in a position where you can look at the overall picture of your business and say, I'm in a really good place and I've got the momentum going. I really need to take this to the next level. That is the 3rd phase. Once you get to the big time and your business has matured, which we touched on yesterday, we're not going to do that today. But here's the thing. You went through the 3 phases just like the company did. You went through the exponential growth. Why? Because your business mimics and mirrors the exact same growth pattern that the companies go through. That's the reason why we tell you build your business utilizing the 90-day mini blast. Why? Because all companies work in quarters. They set quarterly goals for growth and expansion. You need to do the same. It's the reason why we have the importance of the 90-day goal sheet, and et cetera, et cetera. As the company goes from a new status into an intermediate status, it too does not know whether it's going to join the big leagues. You are in that same boat as you go along. Okay, so those are the 3 phases of your business growth. That's totally different than the 4 phases of the business building process, which we touched on yesterday. Phase 1, your initial 90-day mini blast. Phase 2 is when you identify and work with the leaders that came out of that initial 90-day mini blast. Phase 3 is reevaluate your business. Do you want to take it to the next level, or are you happy with where you are? If you are want to go to the next level, then phase 3 is your second 90-day mini blast. Phase 4 is identify and work with your leaders out of that second mini blast. Once you do that, to be honest with you, I can't think of any company that you would be with that you would not be one of the top earners in the company. If you do it right, that will catapult you to incredible income and lifestyle. Okay. Now, there are people that do more than 2 mini blasts. Kudos to them, because it is something that's hard to do. And, they had more staying power than I did. But the thing is that if you do 2 mini blasts, I would say, like I said, the vast majority of the companies out there, even the old ones, you are going to be in an outstanding position to really enjoy your life and develop a wonderful income. Okay, so that being said, Miss Marie, that sets up today's episode. Now that we have that cleared, so that everybody's on the same page, we can talk about evaluating your business, because now they understand the 4 phases of the business building process. I've never brought that up before. We touched on it a little bit yesterday, but I didn't want to confuse people. We got the 5 simple steps. We got the 5 things to look at in a company. I even get tired of saying it, but that's what this is. This is how the business works. Okay. And then you got the growth, the 3 phases of the growth of a company. And Miss Marie, we mentioned lightly about how your business will mimic the company. And that's the reason why we always promoted the 90-day mini blast, ride the wave of the company, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a good foundation to set. So we're all starting kind of at the same point. So we have that understanding of the process of our business, how it fits into what the network marketing company that we're a part of is doing, and the simple steps that, you say you kind of get tired of repeating it, but what's the basis of this whole business? It's duplication, right? So it's that repetition, as long as you're doing it consistently and correctly, right?
That's right. Exactly. And it's not just the 5 simple steps that causes the duplication. We talked about the most critical part of the 5 simple steps. Those are the action things you do, and they've got to be duplicatable, simple, easy to do. Anybody can do them, no matter what language, et cetera, et cetera. What is the most critical thing, which Ms. Marie and I did a wonderful episode on the other day, is the documents, and getting your new partner off on a quick start, a correct start. And we separated those episodes because we did not want to confuse you guys. And then we had another episode on the documents, because each one of those are critically important to start the duplication. Okay. And so we did not want to jumble all those into one episode. Not only would it be too long, but it'd be very confusing. This today is really bringing in a close to this particular subject matter as far as getting duplication started. And the evaluation process, you say, well, Rob, what does that got to do with duplication? You'll see here in a moment. So we talked about the 4 phases of the business building process. And you say, well, okay, well, where do you evaluate your business? But certainly not in the beginning. In the beginning, you got to have heart, you got to have determination, you got to have focus, you got to have energy. You're going to be tired, you're going to be wore out mentally and physically. I'm telling you, you're going to have challenges from your loved ones, your job. I mean, those are things that you're going to have to overcome. And that's true if you were working in your garage. If you were starting a business out of your garage, making whatever it is you want to make, you got to you got to do your job, come home, help the spouse take care of the kids, make sure the homework's done, take care of the yard, it's the car, whatever. And then late at night, when everybody's settled down, 8, 9 o'clock at night, you go out and work in the garage till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. And then you start the process over. Okay. And you're going to have stress. There's going to be dogs that are going to be sick. Cat's going to be sick. One of the kids, a car is going to break down. Those are daily life challenges that are going to come your way, whether you're doing network marketing or another business out of your garage. Okay. So it's not because you're in network marketing. It's because you decided to take control of your life. And it seems like when you do, success says, how serious is Rob? Let's find out. Okay. Because you say, well, success is there at the end cheering you on, and you can see it, and you're running towards that end goal. And success has got a case of beer and pom-poms and barbecue waiting for you. And it's at the end of the rainbow, and there's the gold, the pot full of gold. No. Success says, Rob thinks he wants to be successful. Well, let's see how serious he is. Okay. And they're going to slap you around as you try and build a business. Miss Marie, is that not true?
Well, there's always going to be obstacles, right? And you have to find your way to either work around the obstacles, get over it, dig under it, blast through it, whatever it may be, because it's starting new, right? It's part of the growth process. It's not going to be smooth sailing. It's not going to be simple. There are going to be challenges that need to be overcome, as with anything that is worth doing.
There it is. And you know what, Miss Marie, if you're going to improve yourself as a person, whether it's through business, self-help, whatever the case may be, there are going to be challenges. Success is not always money and material things. Okay. And I really hate the implication that comes with that. If you transform yourself from someone that's never had a job, maybe had a drug or alcohol or some other type of addiction, and you had to overcome that, that is a great story. That's a great success story. And I mean that sincerely. That's better than any material money things you could ever do. Changing your life like that needs to be celebrated. But guess what? When you make that decision, I'm going to stop what I'm doing, there are challenges going to come your way. The temptation to go back to what you were doing before, friends and family deserting you, whatever the case may be, there are going to be challenges anytime you try to improve your life. Once again, success says, you think you want to be successful. Well, let's see how serious you are. And it's going to challenge you. And we say it all the time. Marie's challenges are different than Rob's. Mine are different than Tom's. Tom's is different than Sally's, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. You cannot judge your rate of success or your ultimate success based on Marie. I have to go through many other layers, maybe peel and back layers, to make that change happen. Marie may be ahead of me and not have as many challenges, okay? So with that being said, never judge yourself based on, which we did our episode on, Miss Marie, on your peers, okay, and network marketing. Focus on what you're doing and don't worry about anybody else. Your success will come. Okay, so the more challenges you have to overcome, the longer success is going to take. The thing about extreme type A people, they say, where's my problem? And they boom. Like tomorrow they've overcome it. They have this makeup that's amazing. Okay, what's my next challenge? But they do the changes on the run. They don't put business building on hold. They do the changes on the run. It's amazing to watch. So anyway, we can't judge ourselves on someone like that. That's the reason why I bring it up. Okay, let's all look around at most people who are normal and have to go through a normal cycle in order for these things to happen. Be patient. That's the whole reason I brought that up, is to be patient with yourself. Don't judge yourself, because look, this is a long-term game. Remember, we talked about yesterday, 2 years. Okay, you're using our 90-day mini blast. I told you the other day, Miss Marie can vouch for that. She's seen it. And okay. Here's the thing. There are people that will make let's just say $5,000 to $10,000 in their third month in a business. Okay. You can't let that, you can let it motivate you, but don't get down about it, because that's a rare thing. Okay. If you make $3,000, Miss Marie, how awesome is it for people to make $3,000 at their third month? In other words, the fourth month is when you get your $3,000 check.
That's a tremendous goal. There are hundreds, probably thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands of network marketers out there that have been in their business and they've been working it, and they haven't even seen $3,000 cumulative, much less on a monthly basis, right?
Right. So celebrate it. Okay. And just to let you know, we throw these numbers out because they're realistic. They can happen, okay? We're not teasing you. You should be happy with anything, but we give you a game plan. We give you a roadmap on how to develop your first check. And it's really easy, okay, if you do what we show you. That's the whole key. So we're going to get into evaluating your business now that we've set all that up. You take off on your 90-day mini blast. You do what we show you. Things are going good. Okay. You've had some rough spots, and it ends up taking you 120 days instead of 90 days to get close to your goals. You didn't exceed your goals. You really didn't meet your goals, but you got close enough to be encouraged. Okay. Now we're giving this as a real life example. Okay. Because it's easy to say, oh, you met and exceeded your goals. And, that's everybody's goal. All right. Let's be realistic. Okay. We're going to talk real stuff here instead of what other people talk about. And it's the pie in the sky stuff. A lot of you are going to have a challenge meeting your 90-day goals. Some of you are going to make your 90-day goals too big and don't realize it. That's okay. It forces you to stretch yourself. Okay. It's when you listen to the episodes like this that you learn that maybe you've made the goals a little bit too big. But once again, shoot for the moon. As long as you don't lose your job and lose your family. All right. And make them realistic. But Miss Marie, as you know, they teach you when you set goals, make the goals challenging, but yet don't make them unrealistic. Yeah. So with that being said, you make realistic goals. You sit down, you say, okay, I'm going to do exactly what Rob and Marie teach in the 5 simple steps business building system. I'm going to fill out my 90-day goals. I'm going to use the progress for graph or report. And I'm also going to do the step-by-step checklist to make sure I'm doing all the steps. Okay. And so you go through the process, you are doing it, you're making steady progress. And by your 90th day, you're close to your goals, but you are not going to make your goals. And so you listen to us once again, and what do we tell you? Run past 90 days. It does not have to equal exactly 90 days. And so you decide to go to 120 days. Okay. And sure enough, it takes you 120 days, but on the 120th day, we'll use that as a guide, you actually meet your original 90-day goals that you put on the sheet. Because just because you didn't make your 90-day goals in 90 days doesn't mean you throw that sheet away. It means you keep it pasted up on the refrigerator, on the mirror, look at it out of your wallet, your purse, whatever the case may be. That's not what we want you to do. That's not the purpose of it, to throw it away. And it also, don't beat yourself up because it took longer than 90 days. There may have been days where you had to take the kids to the doctor and you could not do anything. Okay. You can't beat yourself up, but it took you 120 days to reach your 90-day goals. Celebrate it. I'm telling you, celebrate it. You did it. It doesn't matter. Okay. And you say, okay, well, do I stick my head up then? You can. And that is when you stick your head up, you're evaluating your business. Okay. Now, for you to look at your back office and judge your success based on what you see in your back office is a big mistake. Okay. That's not what we're endorsing here. That's not what we're suggesting. And the reason is because of your lack of experience. What we're telling you is to look at your 90-day goal list. Look at where your weak areas are. Look at your strong points. Celebrate your strong points. Look at your weak areas and say, is that something I can overcome sooner rather than later? The only time you want to take your biggest challenge or your biggest weakness and make it your number one priority to improve on is if you have basically no other challenges. Okay. You might have 2 small ones, but if you've got some that are kind of medium-sized challenges that you say, hey, I need to get these under control, you want to leave the big one for later unless it's a business killing problem. Okay. In other words, you can't talk to people really well. Well, that's a big challenge. Okay. And somehow you made it your 90-day goals, but it's something that's still a major weakness. Well, that goes to the top. That's your biggest one. The other 2 or 3 challenges you have are small in comparison. Okay. That's when you move the big one to the top. But if the big one is something like time management and you're doing okay and you're getting better at it, but you've got a lot on your plate, don't stress yourself out by taking that time management and making it bigger than what it really is. Focus on the easy things you can fix about yourself or your business first. So I hope I made that clear. Did I, Miss Marie?
Yes, absolutely. And again, the challenges need to be overcome, but you need to be strategic about how you attack those challenges. Because
if you tackle the big one, if it's not, trying to perfect the music to the ears message, which is a priority, but if it's some of the other one, another big one that's really not worth it at this moment, you know what happens, Miss Marie? You slow down your momentum and you almost become a manager. Don't do it. That's the reason why we share this information with you. Okay, so once again, you're evaluating your business. You're not looking at the back office. You're not looking at your progress report in there. What you're looking at is your 90-day goals and your progress reports that you filled out. And our progress reports are set up to where you can do it on a weekly basis if you're that type of person. You can do it on a bi-weekly basis if you're that type, and also on a monthly 60-day cycle or a 90-day. Okay, we have it set up to where you can do any of those cycles. Okay, now I did mine in the beginning every week, okay, until I got in a groove, and then I went to every 2 weeks. And then when I really knew what I was doing, I would go to every month, okay? But I never got away from it because I knew that my future and my income, my lifestyle was all dependent on me doing what? Being responsible to myself and not allowing myself to relax thinking I knew it all, okay? So I always reviewed. And if I needed to step back up, where there was a couple of times I would go back to my bi-weekly schedule. I rarely went back to weekly, because things were rolling and I was so busy, and I could see the results with my eyes. Okay. And when I filled out my progress report, that was affirmation or affirming that what I saw with my eyes was correct. Okay. So that was good on a bi-weekly basis. Even on a bi-weekly progress report, it will identify whether I need to go back to a weekly schedule. So anyway, at the end of those 120 days, you're going to stick your head up and you're going to look at your progress reports and you're going to say, okay, it took me 120 days to reach my goals, and I've got some weak areas, but I can't stop, but I need to find time in my day to work on the music to the ears message or whatever other challenge you have. But in the meantime, I need to work with my leaders. I've identified my leaders. I use the criteria that Marie and Rob talked about, and these are my leaders, okay? And as we used an example yesterday, I think it was Miss Marie, where we had sponsored 60 people in 90 days. And out of those 60 people, there was 18 people that were really strong. But out of those 18 people, there were 7 to 8 that were really budding superstars that were really cranking this thing, okay? And when you stick your head up to evaluate your business, you're going to focus on those 18 people. Now, we talked about yesterday, remember, a third does it now, a third will do it later, a third will never do it. So out of your 18 people, you have 7 or 8 that are doing it right now. That's your first third. Those are the people you focus on, okay, in your phase 2. Because you remember, your phase 1 business building process is the 90-day mini blast, your initial 90-day, working towards your 90-day goals you put on the sheet. Phase 2 is identifying, working with those leaders that came out of there, which is the 18 people we're talking about. And the one third is working, which means that 7 or 8, whatever it ends up being, are the ones you want to focus on, because the second, the remaining 10, 11 leaders are in the second third. It doesn't mean you ignore them. What it means is that if you're going to harp on them and start whipping them and say, hurry up, you need to catch up with so-and-so, and they were leaving you in the dust, and you don't want to be left behind and this and that, you are going to push them away. They got enough stress, okay? That's not what you do. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. You encourage your 10 to 11 other leaders. Hey, you're doing great. That's awesome. Is there anything I need to do to help you? You are on the way, okay? That's what you do. You lift them up. You encourage them. You let them know that you're there for support. That's how you work your second third, okay? Now, at the end of the 90 days, which ended up being 120 days for you, is when you're looking at your progress sheets. Then you put your head down in phase 2 and work with your leaders that we just talked about. Then you stick your head up again. You say, Rob, well, why would you want to do it twice? You never want to get caught with your pants down. I encourage you to do it at the end of your initial 90-day mini blast, or whenever those days end up being. And then after working with your leaders. Why? Because once you do the phase 2 process, that is going to give you a true indication monetarily and business-wise exactly where you're sitting, okay? Because at the end, it's going to take you approximately another 90 days to work with those leaders. Why? Because they're going through their initial 90-day mini blast. And their downline are going through what? Their initial 90-day mini blast. You're one complete cycle ahead of them. You're 90 days ahead of them. You've got to work with them over your second phase to help them lift them up, okay, and help them stabilize their business before you make a judgment on your business. Okay, you always got to remember you're one cycle ahead of your downline almost at all times, unless they pass you up. Then you're behind, but that doesn't matter. You want that. You encourage that. You celebrate it when they pass you up. You're going to make more money in most comp plans. Here's the thing. You want to do 2 evaluations, one after your initial 90-day mini blast, and 2, and why? Because you're going to look at yourself more than you're going to look at your business. Because your business hasn't really, it's producing money, but you're not working with your leaders yet. You haven't really identified your leaders. But you need to evaluate yourself to correct any problems that you have, okay? And believe it or not, you're going to be able to kind of take a breath when you're working with your leaders. You're going to have more free time because you're not sponsoring people during that phase. You can, but I'm going to tell you that's a real challenge, okay? Now you're really filling up your calendar, okay? And I'm not sure that I would encourage you to do that, but that's a personal decision. I would encourage you to counsel with someone that knows this business really well before you do it, because you don't want to jeopardize what you put together, okay, by stressing yourself out, thinning out your responsibilities. You got too many responsibilities, what I'm saying. You're thinning yourself out. You don't have enough time and focus to devote to those people. So enough said about that. So your second evaluation is actually evaluating your business, and then you can make a decision. And you only have 3 decisions at that second evaluation period. And you say, well, what are they? Am I actually building a business? Is this a successful business? Is it actually doing what I wanted it to do? If the answer is yes, then that's the end of question number 1. Question number 2 is this really what I want to do? Is this business, this industry, whatever, network marketing, whatever you want to call it, now that I've done it, is this something that I really like? Is this something I want to continue to pursue? Do I have the passion for it? Okay. The third one is, this really sucks. I'm not reaching my goals. I'm not making the money. I don't like talking to people. I mean, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Now you don't have to wait till until you're working with your leaders to make that decision. Some people make that decision within the first week. Okay. Some do it with the first day. But I'm talking about the people that really go after it. They still have questions. It's not like as they get this thing rolling, they're a total believer. They have questions. They have fears. They have uncertainties. A lot of things go through their mind as they're building their business, even though they're making money. They're not sure if they want to maintain that schedule, that crazy schedule that they're on. Does that make sense, Ms. Marie? Did I do a good job of laying that out?
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things I want to touch on there is, when you're getting to that point of thinking that this isn't the business for you. You mentioned some people decide that in the first week, which oftentimes can be premature because they're still very much in the learning phase. So you have to give yourself enough time to be able to do a true evaluation, which is why we talk about the 90-day mini blast. Go after it for 90 days and then pop up and do that evaluation of, is this the right business for me? Do I enjoy this? Is this something I want to continue to pursue? Or is it not a good match? Because anyone can be successful in this business, but this business model is not for everyone, right? There are people where it's not a good match. But you have to give it what the old college try, at least. You have to put in your best effort for a period of time, and 90 days is a good evaluation period to decide whether or not truly the business is for you. Because like anything, when it's new, it's going to be hard. And in that first week, it may be, oh man, I want to give this up. But if you push through, and that's one of those obstacles you have to get beyond, and you get into a rhythm and you get familiar with what's going on and you're following the 5 simple steps, you find that you get into a groove and it's like, oh, actually, this isn't so bad. Oh, I'm kind of enjoying this. So you don't want to throw in the towel too soon.
Right. Exactly. And, you can make that same decision at the 90-day point, guys. You don't have to wait to the second phase to make that decision whether to stick with the industry or not. You can make a decision anytime, first day, first week, whatever, first hour, whatever. I mean, it's your business. You're going to do what you want, but we got to make sure that you understand the evaluation process, because it has a major impact on your mental state and also on your momentum and where you want to achieve in this business. If you don't do the evaluation process correctly, then you're going to sabotage yourself in your downline, okay? Because they're going to be watching what you're doing, and you're going to teach them how, and you're going to help them evaluate their own businesses as they go along. And you have to make sure that you're doing it correctly, okay? Now, at the 90-day point, you can stick your head up and say, okay, I'm not close to my goals. I don't feel like pursuing them. This is too hard. You can do that. Once again, I want to make that clear. What I'm saying is you don't have a true evaluation of your business until you work with your leaders, okay? And then you can look at the business in a total picture, and you can say, okay, and you can, in that total picture includes you. Okay, am I doing the time management? Am I doing really good in that? Am I being efficient and effective with my time? Can I get better at that? Or am I going to have to cut back on my business? Is my income where I want it to be? If it is, how do I stabilize that business if I want to stay at this point? Or do I just want to take the money and run because I've paid off all my debt? Those are the types of questions, once again, with an experienced person, hopefully, they're going to be asked as you evaluate your business after working with your leaders. Because to be honest with you, Miss Marie, you're at a turning point. Typically, this second evaluation comes within the first year. And if you decide that you want to stick with it, then the second 90-day mini blast, which is phase 3, becomes a real possibility. Doesn't mean you have to do it right away. You can do it in a couple of months, whatever. But the thing is that you're going to commit to another year of business building activity, and it's going to put you in a position where you can really maximize the financial opportunity this company is providing you through its phase 1 growth. Okay, if the comp plan is favorable to that activity. And that's another part of the evaluation process. Hopefully, God willing, you'll have somebody that knows the comp plan really well, and you can say, hey, I need to ask you some questions. I'm thinking about really running this thing hard over the next year. What is the payoff at the top level of this comp plan? What do I have to do? And they may say, well, you've got to have 60 directs and this and that, which sounds like a lot to you guys, and it is. But once you get the ball rolling, once duplication starts, believe me, it starts popping up left and right without you even realizing it, in depth more than anywhere, to be honest with you. But the thing is that can and will happen if you do it correctly, okay? And so you look at it and they say, well, yeah, you got to, you personally, you have to be a diamond, and then you have to have 60 directs, and then you have to have 32 emeralds, whatever. Every comp plan is different. I'm throwing numbers out. I'm throwing titles out because I don't really have a model to go by here, because there's so many different comp plans. But you got to get with somebody that really knows a comp plan, because you want to know that if you're going to go for the gusto, if you're going to finish this thing off, because you already did you did phase 1 and phase 2, you're halfway home if you choose to maximize this comp plan in this company. So if you're going to make that run, you want to make sure that the comp plan is going to pay you off, because believe it or not, there are certain companies that will focus on the middle ground. In other words, the middle people, the transitional people. Okay, why? Because they feel that having people, more people in the middle is more stable for the company than having a few big shots at the top. Okay. And so they'll trickle some money down to the newbies to keep them around. But what they'll do is they'll really focus on the middle. Well, there are top earners that will leave a company, and you see it all the time, Miss Marie, and you may have seen it yourself. There are top leaders that will leave companies because they are making pennies on the dollar. And they're saying, you know what, I worked my tail end off to put this organization together, and you guys are paying me pennies. you wouldn't be as big as you are if it wasn't for me and my organization. And they'll get upset and they'll go to another company and take their organization with them. So it's a delicate balancing act, but companies make those decisions. That's the reason why I say in your second evaluation, you've got to get with somebody that knows a comp plan and can say, yes, this company has a comp plan that will reward you for your efforts. Okay. And you want to counsel with somebody who's actually in that category, not somebody, not a peer, not a lateral discussion and upline discussion. Okay. Because you got to talk to somebody that's been there, somebody that's living it, and again understands the comp plan. So then after you make your second evaluation, you can determine whether you want to go to phase 3, which is your second mini blast, and which would lead to phase 4, which is your second working with your leaders. Okay, and I'll be honest with you, after that, those 4 phases, if you do it right, it is over. Okay, and it's going to take you about 2 years, Miss Marie. I just can't see how, because sometimes working with your leaders in phase 2, which is following your initial 90-day mini blast, doesn't just last 90 days. Like it might go into 120 days. Okay, because what happens is, Ms. Marie, is that your 10 or 11 secondary leaders start coming on. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You work with the 7 or 8 and you got them stabilized and they're pretty much, Rob, leave me alone. I'm okay. Don't bother me. And all of a sudden, 3 or 4 of those 10 or 11 secondary leaders start coming on. And guess what? Now you got to work with them. You just can't ignore them. And so the next thing you know, you could be going into your 4th or 5th month of working with leaders and you're still in phase 2 before you even think about phase 3. So I needed to add that in there too. So hopefully I know I talked a lot. It's almost an hour and I really didn't want to dominate this conversation, but I wanted to get that information out because it's essential that people understand the importance of the evaluation, when it's supposed to happen and what you're supposed to do during that evaluation. So I'll, of course, in the summarization, I'll clarify it without rambling. Well,
and that's the beauty of this, Rob. With your experience and your depth of knowledge, I fully expected you to quote unquote dominate the conversation today, because that's where the value is. This is what the people need to hear, and they need to understand the timing. We talk about the 90-day mini blast. We use that as a framework to work within, but it's not a hard and fast number, right? And that's why that second phase of developing and working with your leaders, it's hard to put a timeline on it because it depends on the number of people you have, how they're coming along, how quickly they progress. And the same things when you go into phases 3 and 4. The beauty when you get into phase 3, if you do that second 90-day mini blast and then phase 4 following up with those leaders, you've been around that block already. Yeah. It's become that much more easily to you. You're going to find the prospecting works better. It's much smoother. Your music to the ears message, you're so much more comfortable with. And then the same thing working with the leaders in phase 4 and really stabilizing your business and getting them set and stable as well. It comes that much more easily.
Yeah. And I want to clarify something, and it's not to contradict Miss Marie, but the initial 90-day, all 90-day mini blasts, they are hardcore 90-day goals. Okay. Here's why. They create speed and urgency. You've got to have speed and urgency. If you say, well, you know what, it's a 90-day mini blast, but if it takes you 110 days to do it, no big deal, blah, blah, blah. Guys, if you do that, you are setting your business up for failure, okay? Because people are going to get lazy about it, and you got to verbalize, here's why 90 days are so important. When you write your 90-day goals down, guys, you got to go after it aggressively, okay? And this is you talking to your downline, your new partners, and you're saying you've got to go after it because here's what it does. It inherently has the ability to create speed and urgency. The natural progression of you aggressively going after your goals, knowing that 90 days goes fast. And if you want to reach those goals, those goals that you set are stretching your abilities to achieve those. So you got to be motivated and get your butt in gear, because you know in order to make those goals, it's going to take everybody those 90 days. That's the mindset you want your new partners to have. Okay. Now, if they get to the 80th day and they call and say, Rob, I'm not going to make my 90-day goals, what's going to happen? You tell them, because at the 80th day, they've done probably 95% of the work. Okay. And so you say, hey, don't panic. Okay. Let's continue to work. If it goes past 90 days, it's not like they're going to take your business away from you. Okay. You don't want to say, hey, don't worry about it. The 90 days is just something. Don't say that. Just say, hey, you did a great job. Okay. You still got 10 days. Let's continue to work. I'll work with you if you want, or let's look at some things you have challenges with, and maybe they'll make a difference. But here's the thing. You know what? Let's keep going after that 90 days and let's see what happens. Okay. And you don't tell them to let up. You don't tell them, oh, that's okay. Because if you do, it's going to duplicate down the line. And I'm telling you, it will have a huge negative impact. You'll leave literally, Miss Marie, thousands upon thousands of dollars on the table just by that simple little thing. Okay. That 90 days is absolutely critical to creating the speed and urgency. So you don't want to give that impression, but at the same time, you don't beat them up when they don't make it. Okay. And it's a balancing act, but you cheer your people on at every chance you get. Okay. And I'm going to tell you, Miss Maria, if I have somebody that's aggressively working towards the goals and they're 110 days in, and this is a subject that we'll get into at another time, and then 110 days, 120 days, they're still only like 55, 60% close to their goals. Okay. There's no sense in dragging out that 90-day mini blast. You know why? It will ruin their morale. It will drain them. They will become a grinder. You know what you do, Miss Marie? You celebrate that 60%, because some people, that's what they are. You see what I'm saying? And what do? You work with the leaders that came out of that 60%. Okay? Because one of those leaders down in their bottom can literally lift their business up to great heights and boost the morale and their excitement. And if you continue to say, no, you got to finish that 90-day, your goals, no, you got to do that, you'll miss the opportunity to work with those leaders that may blossom into something great. And the person that only got 60%, 65% 90-day goals, they would miss that opportunity to grow with them, because they put together the number of pins where they can capture that volume that's being created. Well, you don't want to miss that opportunity by telling them, no, they're going to go towards your 90-day goals. And we'll talk about that in the future, when people fall short in their 90-day goals. It is a leader of an organization, it is a balancing act all the time, because Marie's going to be different than Sally, and Sally's going to be different than Tammy. And Rob has to log into his back office, and Rob has to be in contact and talk with Miss Marie and encourage her. Yeah, you're in your 75th day. You're doing great. And she might say, yeah, but you know what? It's slowed down. I don't know what's going on. And yet you talk to Sally, she's like, yeah, man, I'm going to meet my goals. I may even exceed them. You don't let anybody, I don't tell Sally about Marie or vice versa. And you know what? I celebrate them both, but I work with Marie because every human being has weaknesses. Okay. So that's another story for another day, which I don't want to get into here, but I wanted to touch on that because, you and I talk in hardcore 90-day, this is what you do, blah, blah, blah. We make it very simple. It seems very simple. And we always tell people you're dealing with human beings. When you deal with human beings, there's challenges that come with, it takes a simple process and makes it really hard, really difficult, or you want to pull your hair out, So we try to give you these scenarios so that you can tap into our knowledge and experience and say, oh, I remember them talking about that. Here's what I do here.
Yeah, that's the human component. When you throw in the people component, that's where things start getting complicated, because everybody's different. So
yes, and as a leader, you've got to keep it different. You cannot talk about somebody else. You can promote somebody and edify somebody, that as long as it's true, obviously, but you never want to say, no, Marie's struggling, Rob's being a ding dong. You never do that. As you and I talked about, never pass down a negative down line. Matter of fact, you don't even pass negative cross line, even on a lateral level. I'm a diamond, you're a diamond. That's man, it's bad. It comes back and gets you big time.
Well, and I think we addressed that whole negative thing in another episode too. So if you're interested in hearing more about that, go search for that episode. There was a lot of good information there about talking about the negativity, how to deal with it, that whole thing. But Rob, as far as evaluating your business, then how would you summarize it?
Do at least 2 evaluations, one after phase 1, which is your initial 90-day mini blast, and then the other one, which is your true one, after phase 2, which is your working with your leaders, identifying and working with your leaders. The second one is your true one, Miss Marie. That's when you can say, I'm done with this business, or hey, I love it. I'm having a ball, or hey, this is the type of money and lifestyle I want. And once you make that evaluation, then you get a hold of Miss Marie and say, hey, Miss Marie, can you help me stabilize my business? I'm right where I want to be. Or, hey, Miss Marie, can you help me take my business to the next level? I really like what I'm doing here and I'm on a roll. Or, hey, Miss Marie, I'm going to walk away from this. What do I do with my business? So those are your options, obviously, at that second phase. But you certainly do not want to make a decision until after working with your leaders, because you don't have a true idea of what your business is.
Okay. Well, that's simple enough.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's this thing. I'm so glad that we touch on subject matter. I mean, I enjoy talking about these things. You know why? Because I know that nobody else is out there talking about it. People aren't helping people. And you know what, Miss Marie, you can get past your initial 90-day mini blast and do really well and get into the second phase, working with your leaders, defining and working with them, and not have a clue what to look at in your back office, not have a clue what to say, how to work with them. And you'll blow everything you did in your 90-day mini blast out of the water in phase 2.
Yep. And that's what we want to prevent, because we are here to provide the value to help you succeed in your business. And again, it's all about duplication. So be sure that you're sharing this with your downline. And like we always say, if you understand what we're saying is making sense to you, please like, comment, and share on our various social media platforms. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, register for the notifications, click on that bell. You'll get the notification when we're going live. You'll know when we have new material available to you. And of course, we are always here weekday mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern, right, Rob?
That's right.
It's the
we
best.
had people on today again.
How about you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you need to find us, of course, on any of the social media platforms, you can search for hashtag the MLM solution. That's hashtag the MLM solution. And then, of course, our website, themlmsolution.net. Tremendous amount of material there for you. Rob has been working hard on that website. Lots of improvements, lots of upgrades, great information there. We've got a members only area coming soon, so stay tuned for that.
Yes.
And of course, be sure to share this information, definitely with your downline, but of course with network marketers around the world, so they can benefit from this valuable information that we're bringing as well, because you're not going to hear it anywhere else.
No, you are not. There is no doubt. And Miss Marie and I love talking about it. And as you can tell, we have a passion for the industry and passion to help people. And that's what makes this podcast go, and that's what makes it successful. And that's the reason why people are relating to it. And so please help us get the word out to our fellow network marketers across the globe. When you do, the world's a better place for it. And believe me, the world can use all the positivity it can in today's upside down world. With that being said, Miss Maria, as always, we had another successful and productive episode. I look forward to tomorrow because it's Freelance Friday.
And you never know what's going to happen.
No, you do not. So with that being said, which is all, as I said before, it's odd because that is our most popular episodes. And I'm sure it's because it's freelancing. We talk about anything. So with that being said, we're going to hop off here, guys. Tomorrow, 11 a.m., we'll see you again. Freelance Friday. Join us, and please let everybody else know. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to the MLM Solution Podcast. For more info, visit our website, themlmsolution.net. Please follow us on the following platforms: Facebook, YouTube, etc. And share this podcast with our fellow network marketers around the world by hitting the share button on our various platforms.